you arrived with a suitcase that was too heavy, a heart that was too nervous. You didn't know who the person sitting next to you. You didn't know what these 2 years would demand of, but you came anyway. In our lives, we are guided by many things: our instincts, our intuitions, our aspirations, our experiences, and our dreams. Each one of those forces guide you here to this institution, to this very moment. And today, with deep gratitude in our hearts and a quiet excitement for everything that lies ahead, I Summer and I am Shreyash, and together we warmly welcome you to the last lecture for the class 2024-26 of Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management, Nashik. The last lecture. Let those words sit with you for just a second. Not the last lesson, those will be wrong. But the last time this particular gathering of people comes together in this particular place as students of Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management. SIOM is not just an institution, it's a vision brought to life. The vision of promoting international understanding through quality education. A place that looks ingenious and dare to turn them into something more. Leaders, thinkers, take-no-business professionals who are as comfortable with strategy as they are with systems. Over the past 2 years, this place hasn't just taught you operations management, it has quietly, persistently been building. As we prepare into stepping post-MBA journey, I want to lead with a thought. By Nelson Mandela, action is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. You have spent 2 years sharpening that weapon in classrooms, in case studies, in late night submissions, and in early morning presentations. As you leave these halls, carry with you your knowledge, your resilience, and above all, your values. Because the world has enough clever people, but what it truly needs are the good ones. There's a beautiful idea that runs through almost every culture and every civilization across human history. The idea of light. Light as knowledge, light as hope, light as the courage to move forward, even when the path is fully not visible. Today, we honor the idea with lamp-lighting ceremony, a tradition that symbolizes the illumination of minds, the warmth of wisdom, and the promise that we will carry that light forward into everything you do. We would now request our distinguished guests to kindly face the stage. First of all, welcoming our director, Dr. Mandala Salapema, our esteemed guest of the day, Mr. Shekhar Tiwari, our deputy director, Dr. Rathawa, and our very own class coordinators, Anubhav and Sandeep. Kindly welcome. Thank you all. A moment of shared light like this is especially meaningful as we mark this occasion. We would like to request Mr. Shekhar Tiwari and Dr. Vandana ma'am to kindly take on the demos. As you step into this world beyond this campus, it is only fitting that we now have from a leader who has spent decades building something meaningful, one student at a time. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce a founding force behind everything SIOM stands, Dr. Vandana Sunara, the founding member and director of Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management, Nashik. Wow, this touch has been shaped in small part by your vision, your standards, and your beliefs in what young professionals can become. It is an honor to have you with us today. It is yours.
Good morning. Good morning. I know why the voice is moist and lightly low. Huh? I think that's going to be the same in all our experience today. Very, very good morning to all of us. Esteemed guest for today's function, Shekhar Tiwari, all faculty members, Ratna, staff, and of course, graduating batch of 24-26. It's very, I think, two touch points which makes us most excited and go back to the roots of the founding philosophy of SIOM. One is your induction program, and the second is your Adhyant. Yeah, because these are the two events which I generally observe the eyes of people, because that tells me what is going on in their minds. And I see a lot of change, very positive change coming out of the journey of these 2 years, from the point of your induction, this day today. It's a very special day, absolutely a special day, because it marks the completion of your journey that started with, what do you remember? MBA entrance tests and series of interviews, and I don't know, so many things, the anxiety, the anxiousness, which door is going to open to you, and all that. And you can see where you are today. I also remember the first time we actually get a in-person feel of the batches during the icebreaker session. Yeah, do you all remember your icebreaker sessions? Yeah. So I think it was my 3rd June you all joined, must be around 5th June, 6th June, around that time. Right. And the type of questions, the type of things that are going on in your mind tells us how to really tour you through the years. Yeah. I mean, I was there in one of these meetings, and I remember Sidra, I remember Anjali, yeah, these people asking some very matter-of-factly questions. Ayush, who shared his travel journey, and I think lot of these, things went on in my mind that time. But of course, very, very, very important is the fact that you are all here today. Happy to see you all very confident, very mature. The fact that you have sort of, created that strength in you, determination, and converted your dreams into facts of your life. Yeah. Another very interesting thing that I want to share with you is the time you decided to get into operations and supply chain. I mean, your sense of timing is really great, I must say. Yeah, because as we face the global crisis today, nothing is more important than supply chain and operations. nothing is actually, I mean, the whole process of movement, everything comes to a stall because things are not happening in the way they should happen. Yeah? Is this just a movement of goods? Not really. Yeah? It is, I think it's a movement of hope. So what you are going to really be instrumental in doing is not just supply chain or goods and services, but actually kind of hope, a movement which gives positivity and optimism to many, many of you. Uh, I'm sure Shekharji is much more capable to talk about these things than me, because he's been there, done it all, and he was asking me, why am I here? I'm not even an MBA. I said, that's the very reason you are here. Because we would like our students to know what they haven't learned. Yeah? So we're discussing that knowledge gained through education is of course very important. I can't stand here and actually dilute it. But knowledge gained through experiments and experiences is much, much valuable, all of them, anything else. So you all thought that you are going to manage strategies, you are going to manage businesses, but I think the most important business that you are going to be in is managing trust and relationships. I would really urge you not to dilute, not to underestimate this fact. And to do these things in the world of supply chain is going to be quite demanding. It's really going to be demanding because it is beyond your Excel and data and all these things. Don't fear, but I'm sure life is very, very beautiful. It's not just about the challenges that you are going to face. So there are some things that you should not really be so serious about. Masti karna bahut zaruri hai. We both agree on that. Yeah. So 2-3 things I want to share, which I also learned is that your first job is not going to be your last job. Yeah. Your first job is not going to be your last job. I thought when I passed out of my MBA that wow, this is like the company I was born for. And I found it living in what less than 1.5 years because there was something better coming up. There was another challenge which like so. I mean, it's fine. Yeah? You all are, of course, you have a great stepping stone. Actually, it's not even a stone, it's a great ladder that you have stepped on now when you pass out of SIOM, but that's not really the end of life. Yeah. Also, your first boss may not be perfect. If I look back, mine was absolutely imperfect, but I understand his imperfection much better now when I've used his the way he managed things. So we can't choose our bosses naturally. Some of you have, I remember, yeah, but may not be perfect. So learn from whatever. Go through the whole process. I think that experience gets very important. I was told by my mentor that if you don't like things at work, be indispensable and then leave the company. And I think that has really trained me quite a lot. I didn't feel the need to change the company. Your first salary may seem small. It's not really small for 80% of you. But this is just the start. It is the learning is going to be very, very priceless. I know the most important decision that we generally tend to book on for the 2 years is which company am I getting in? That is like the be all and end all of life. But you all know that this is just the start. A lot of learning that's going to really happen in future. So it's important that you also enjoy the whole journey because I'm sure the whole knowledge of supply chain has taught you that demands will fluctuate at work, but at home they will keep on rising. That's the contradiction of life that you also face. Suppliers may actually delay, but at home you are the ones who will still have to manage, ensuring resources are well in place and irrespective of tier 1, tier 2 supply, whatever failing, you will have to really work very, very hard at that. And very important, sometimes you will also experience that there are errors in the system, so you have to try again. And believe me, at workplace, of course, you have creativity and new ways of problem solving. But in your personal front, this effort of trying again, no, and building on something that's not working, whether in your married life, social life, is actually a great journey because that binds people together. That brings in great relationships. So all in all, I really want to urge you, keep the things that you learned in the classrooms and out of the classrooms, which talks about adaptability, about resilience, about ensuring that chain keeps running, a well-oiled chain keeps running. I read Shekhar shared his article with me, the recent article with me last night, and very beautifully he has said that, that predictability is going to be more important than cost. Yeah. So here for us, predictability is actually, more about trust. Yeah. Don't really value things in terms of money or the cost and it is coming to you. That is just one matrix of life. It's very important, absolutely. But that's just one matrix of life. So when we are saying that the resilience in today's times is more important, over the scale, and stability is actually the growth in today's times. I mean, we always, as strategists, found that stability was not too good for a longer duration, but it's not so. Yeah? Stability today is growth, as people say it. I think all these principles are really going to help you, having a very, very nice life, very interesting life. Bit of challenges, great fun, and of course, a lot of grit and guts to go forward. It's very important. I feel that as you pass out, everybody is going to expect a lot from you, and of course, SIOM is also going to expect a lot from you. Make your parents proud. Very, very crucial. Yeah. I mean, people say in management, people say where you come from is not important. It's important. I feel those are very, very important. Always give the example of a kite, right? There's somebody down there holding you. You can fly over the skies, wave the winds, over your wings, or whatever. But there's something that makes you maneuver, keep you grounded, and those are the values that families give us. So please make your parents proud, make all these faculties proud who have been sweating out, make you understand things, and hand in glove, probably learn and grow together. Of course, make SIOM proud because we are going to have a very interesting relationship henceforth. Yeah, it's not going to be about attendance. It's not going to be about committees. It's not going to be about exams. It's much beyond that. Much beyond that. And you are the treasures of SIOM. You are going to be really the treasures of SIOM. Believe me, yesterday I contacted because we have this LPG problem, LNG problem, and you all know how our menus have changed all across the hostels. 20,000 plus, 30,000 plus students of Symbiosis all across. So the core team got together and understood, reached out. We said, okay, let's reach out to our alumni who are in BPCL, IOCL, HPCL, and let's see whether we can do something. Who would believe an SIOM alumni responded, whom I have not even been in touch. Probably I don't remember the face, but I know he's in database and I went back, which batch it was, how did it look like, what all did it look, how was the connect. And then I reached out to him and within half an hour, this guy replies with the exact touch point that SPOC that we should get in touch with and says he will do your job. At least he will try to help out with things. So in crisis, of course, we belong to a great fraternity of Symbiosis and SIOM, but it is much beyond. Whether I get the cylinders or not is not important for me at this stage. Yeah? The person responding, the same type of empathy for students on campus. I think that is that is a great experience for me rather than the contact point and whether it works it or not. Yeah. So relationships very, very important for all of us. Of course, you're already in MBA. The last thing I would say is what we really expect, not just me, the world expects from you is leadership, character, very, very important. And most important, responsibility. Yeah. We would really not like to see you as bystanders. What I mean by that is effect change. When things don't go the way like effect change that. That is the responsibility I'm talking about. So please carry this with you and really hoping that you have a bright, fulfilled, not just career, but a very comprehensive 360-degree life. All the buckets of life, yeah, in that sense. Thank you so much. It was great having you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Every time you speak, you remind us that leadership is not about what you achieve. It is about what you build in others. We are eternally grateful. The last lecture is a cherished tradition at SIOM, and what makes it special is not just the occasion, but the voices that have graced it. Over the years, the stage has been honored by remarkable individuals. Padma Shri Dr. Deepa Malik, Padma Shri Arundhati Bhattacharya, Ambassador Pawan Verma, Ambassador Tanveez Ahmed, Mr. Sushil Kumar, and Captain Vijay Singh. Each of whom left behind insights that students have carried long after they left this school. Today's last lecture continues that legacy, and we are privileged to have with us a leader whose career sits precisely at this intersection of strategy and execution. Mr. Shekhar Tiwari is an accomplished professional in operations, procurement, and supply chain management, fields where the difference between theory and practice can make or break an organization. With a strong engineering foundation and extensive experience across complex operational environments, Mr. Tiwari has spent his career building systems that don't just work, they endure. He has strengthened operational resilience, optimized resources, and developed frameworks that help organizations thrive in a rapidly evolving global landscape. His leadership philosophy is one that many of us will come to appreciate even more deeply as we step into the working world. Disciplined execution, sound judgment, and strong governance as the bedrock of sustainable success. And beyond the boardroom, Mr. Tiwari is passionate about mentoring young professionals and helping them find their footing in a world that rewards both technical sharpness and human wisdom. He finds joy in music, photography, travel, and long drives. A reminder that the best leaders are often the most curious ones. He also believes in mindfulness and spiritual reflection as a way to stay grounded in this fast-paced world. He believes true success comes from clarity of purpose and courageous decision and long-term thinking. So we are truly honored by your presence today. This batch is eager to learn from your journey. Please join us in giving Mr. Shekhar Tiwari a very warm welcome.
I believe you guys can speak. I was told at least that you guys can speak. Is that true? Or you speak only in front of your teachers? Vandana ji, Vandana is a very, very sacred name for me. Any guesses why? My wife's name is also Vandana. So somebody was guessing it right, but did not had enough courage to do. Courage to. Okay, so even if I switch off my mic, my voice would be louder than you. So there are two approaches. One is that I stand here, deliver the lecture, last lecture, and trust me, no way is going to be the last. You will get a boss who will lecture you. Not every day, every hour. Yeah, so this is just the beginning. So I can complete my not even the last lecture and go on, or we interact. What do you prefer? देखो भाई आप लोग अगर मन में जो आप लोग ना तो मुझे पता नहीं चलेगा. I cannot understand so many voices, right? Last line, interact or one way? Okay. And what do you want to hear? Now you said you will interact, so let's interact. So if they don't speak properly, right, and I cannot understand, that doesn't get added into my time. So the food becomes that much delayed. Okay, now we're good. What do you want to hear? Do we have a mic for the audience? One or two? No? Yes? We don't know. Because if I don't know what you guys want to hear, what's the point in speaking for 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or 15 minutes? All of you can stay without your mobile for how long? These are all individual questions, by the way, if you have understood. Check. This is how the singers check the mic. Okay, how many of you can stay without your mobile for, let's say, 90 minutes? One only brave person. Thank you, sir, for raising your hand. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 out of 165 there. 25 can stay for 90 minutes. So you'll complete it in 1 hour. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, so can everybody raise your hand? Okay, anybody who disagrees can put their hands down. I trust you. Okay, so very, very important is to listen, right? Done it? So what do you want to hear? We have the mic now, right? So anyone who can, who is ready to take their neck out, can ask for the mic. Stand up and shout if you're comfortable, or speak, if not shout. Yeah, please.
Probably some experiences that you have shared like over these years and something we would like to take away from.
Okay, experiences, takeaways. Anybody else? Yeah. It is yet to end, but yeah, I get yes. Thank you. Yep. How did journey happen? Anybody else? Last two. Okay. None? Shit. Oh, sorry, not the diagonal. You keep saying shit, left, right, side, good. Especially when, those two young boys, when they were rattling out the names, this is precisely the question I asked on the website, that when I have seen the name of the folks who have appeared here for the last lecture, why me? No way I deserve to be here. So my sincere apologies to each one of you for being here. It's a privilege, it's an honor. But honestly, I'm nowhere close to that list. Arundhati Bhattacharya and others, I'm feeling great about it. And once again, thank you so much. I have 4 different set of people to thank. Ujjola ma'am, first of all. Sameer, most important, Sameer Kulkarni. Yogi, I don't know if you see it. Made my Darshan at Trambakeshwar yesterday. It took 3 hours, but then when I went inside, I got almost 12 to 15 minutes. Nobody was pushing me around. I was surprised. So, if you go through that pain, good things happen, and before that, time above. So, first time when I came here, I said my only request is that get me to that temple. This is what a good guy, nothing like it. And Mahesh for the IT synchronization with my dear friend Shobha, and hopefully we are live on YouTube. I have no idea, but let's continue. Right? And essentially, what I got the liberty from one of them was saying that talk whatever you want. Right? So I'm not going to talk anything about strategy. I'm not going to talk anything about MBA principles. I'm not going to talk anything about theory. I'm not capable of doing that. You have a much better audience here. What I'm going to do is what kept me going for 3 decades. Okay, what worked for me for 3 decades is what I'm going to talk, right? All the slides are more or less independent, so you can stop me if that question comes up, because that will give me a good comfort feeling and then somebody is listening. Last thing you want is, you're speaking for 45 minutes, but nobody is listening, right? So please feel free to ask the mic, because I think that would be good for the YT live also. And if I'm covering that question in the later part of the slide, so I will say it'll get covered. Fair enough? Okay. What do you understand by this? What is this? Okay, this is, I mean, religion neutral. Whatever you find in Hinduism, you'll find in Sikhism, Muslim culture or the Christianity, right? So you can figure out your relevant example. I am much more comfortable with these examples. That's why. No intention of being an overqualified Hindu, or nowadays Hindustan is a lot Hindu than what it used to be, which is a problem, but that's for some other day. This is actually, response to a story which my dad told me when you start feeling a little more airy, a little more, more confident. And he narrated me a story of Mahabharata. It is not Mahabharata, it is Mahabharata. Ramayana is not Ramayana, it is Ramayan, right? So Angrez Ramayana बोले या Mahabharata बोले उनको allowed है. हमको Mahabharata और Ramayana बोलना चाहिए. बहुत जरूरी है, right? So in that, there was a fight going on between Arjun and Karna. And Arjun used to, attack. Karna का रथ 5 गज पीछे जाता था. And जब कर्ण बाण चलाते थे तो अर्जुन का रथ सिर्फ 1 गज पीछे जाता था. One, right? And Arjun got a lot of good feeling about it. And he said, देखा, आप बोलते हो ऐसा, आप बोलते हो ऐसा, but जब मैं कर रहा हूँ तो 5 और वो कर रहा है तो 1. And कृष्ण जी ने उतरी टाइम आउट लिया और उनको बोला कि तुम्हारे रथ में सामने मैं बैठा हूं और ऊपर हनुमान जी, उसके बाद ये 1 गज पीछे आ रहा है, वहां कोई नहीं है और सिर्फ 5, 3 वर्सेस 1. अब तुम समझे इस कहानी से हमें क्या शिक्षा मिलती है? हम उन लोगों को we take them for granted जो हमारे पास शुरू से, right? They're like selflessly there and we take them for granted. You may have agreement, you may have disagreement, you'll have fight with them, but you should never take them for granted. Could be your parents, could be your teachers, could be your friends, could be somebody, but they are the backbone of your life. If they decide to pull their hand, you're finished, literally finished, because you will not have more than 4 or 5 people who are willing to die for you. And I can pause for 30 seconds. Think of friends, family who will die for you. I doubt anybody can cross very little 10 names, right? So that network needs to be protected, respected. No conditions, no negotiation. Even if you decide to part ways, it needs to be a lot more civilized in a way that you thank them enough and more. So then if required, because once you go through some kind of a problem, if you want to go back, there needs to be an open connection. Now, why I'm saying this, in a way, he was a direct boss for Arjun. He was right from the day one. If you understand how many of you have read Gita or something similar? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, please read the best management book you can ever get. Okay, literally better than Lilavati Kalavati. That is also management book. My mind, Satyanarayan Katha. But Krishnaji was really visible. Hanumanji was on the top, right? So, bosses are there, visible, not visible. I think it needs to understand the source of strength from where it is coming and who will make you successful in your journey, right? The second one is even more profound, if I may say so. What is the population of India? 140 crores. Global population around 700, right? And how many students are trying to study in multiple schools and colleges? Maybe let's say 15% broadly. How many of you are here? 160. Of that 14 crores or 20 crores. How? Why? You will say, I taught my 10th, 12th and all that, right? But how many of you actually have struggled for that? Or how many of you come from that kind of family who could sponsor that? Right? So by default, you got a privilege which is not available to others. Right? So again, you'll be a lot more situation wherein you have a kind of a situational advantage. And it's very, very important to be grateful for that. Understand that, it's kind of a destiny which I have incorporated or taken over, and I need to do good towards that. And very, very importantly, stay grounded. Now, stay grounded becomes very, very, I'm from Symbiosis, I'm from IIM, and I was talking about this, we were talking about this, when some of the top-notch graduates come to the workplace, they think they know everything. They come with a kind of, mujhe pata hai kya karna. Consultants, for example. It's sort of a scale. You will ignore the legacy knowledge of a person who's stayed in that organization for 7 to 10 years, and you think you know everything. And in reality, you know nothing. You know nothing. You don't even know your whole family. Forget about an organization, right? Chacha, mama, bua, tai, pata nahi. Hare ke paas ek apni khud ki story hogi, aapko pata nahi, right? So then, in an organization when you are working in it, I think it becomes very, very important. And if you not stay grounded, you will not know what exactly you are supposed to do. You will not be able to build your network, because who would like to be a friend with kind of an arrogant person or a little more caring person, right? So you may found it a little more philosophical, right? But very, very important that these are going to be the fundamentally important factor for you to say, look, I know nothing. Please teach me. Please tell me how it is done. You might know AI, you might know a better forecasting technique, you might not know a scientific inventory management. You can figure out EOQ much better. You'll know how to decommission the bottleneck or de-bottleneck the process. You'll have an expertise on that. But until you apply that legacy knowledge into that new tool, you'll not get the best out of it. And as a result, you'll be a flop, right? And when you flop, somebody needs to say, the so-and-so, I'm borrowing the name which I have from Anjali, right? Did her best what she could do. Because that's what matters a lot. Why? Because you're talking to a person who was with PepsiCo for 11 years, never delivered primary freight as a target or a KPI, and took 3 promotions. 4 actually, borderline. Okay. So the KPIs, SLA, everything is important, but what is your effort? What is your contribution? What exactly you did to the process? What exactly, most importantly, you did to the individual is critical and key. Right? Some of you maybe want to give me the pushback that यार उनको वैसे ही पता नहीं अगर उनसे हो गया होता तो बात ही क्या थी. Correct? उनको नहीं पता doesn't mean they know nothing. Right? And that's where I think you can partner with them. And once they start understanding what is the value you are getting to them, they'll become your friend. And it'll be a two-way learning, two-way interaction. It will give you a lot of let's say brownie points in the corporate world as well. But more importantly, it will make you a much better human being. Right? Now, one thing which is I'm going to talk about is you have your teachers here, you have your bosses, you have your friends, the set of folks who can tell you everything black and white. Who is the CEO of your life? Who is? The other time you get married, who is the CEO of your life? Even after you getting married, who is the CEO of your life? Yourself, perfect, so far so good, right? But who will advise you, or who will keep you honest, who will push you back, who will know that you are getting into a zone which is not very, very friendly for you? Very recently, I was talking to a female lead of my previous organization, who was in a different sector of it as a senior vice president or a vice president mobility supply chain. And I had to do a very calibrated discussion with her, saying that you're not ready for this role. You coming at a at a consultant or analyst level is a different thing from a different field, but coming as a VP on a supply chain, which is artful planning and other kind of a job, you will struggle. You need to understand A, B, C, D, E. It's not that you cannot do it, but what is kind of input that needs to go, right? So maybe I am in her personal mode of directors, right? One of the mentor who can talk to her, or and similar examples about some other folks also. And generally, when you are into that kind of a situation, you are advising for everything, right? Not only professional situation, but personal situation also. So I think it's very, very important to have a connect. And they would be like, your Krishnaji and Ramanji, right? We can reach out and literally say everything. And trust me, they help a lot. They save you multiple times. They tell you something which you have completely missed out. And they'll also say you're an idiot. You are going way too fast, you'll just get burnt out or something like that. And it's important. So I think very, very important would be, and not necessarily they need to be the same. They can change over a period of time, right? But not necessarily, but you need to have that, right? Now, what has worked maximum for me is the gut. Okay, you have data, you have process, you have systems, you have folks, what tell you so many things, but what exactly you need to do? Because that gut comes from your experience, your knowledge, your listening. If that is giving you some different guidance or a guidance, listen to it. You won't be disappointed. Now, it's a tricky situation for the folks like you to trust, to tell you to trust the gut, especially in the beginning of stage of careers, because you are in a slightly insignificant position, right? You are starting, so you're young, you don't have enough more experience. But more and more you progress, you need to be sure. And then you need to kind of ask those structured questions. Why, when everybody else is saying this, my mind or my brain or my gut is telling me like this, and start figuring out the answers. That's structured thinking, not like procrastinating, not like thinking over and over and over again, but for 15, 20 minutes, pros, cons, what you're going to do. And once decide, then go ahead. Then your gut should not be, again, become a lot of time, or sometimes it may happen, or a lot of times it can happen is that you do against your gut, but you need to know why you were thinking that and what you have taken the call. Let me just pause. Useful, helpful, speed is good, slow. This is yes or this is no. In India, this is okay, but elsewhere, no, yes. So we talked about so many folks, right? Who was your carrier? You guys will see. Listen. Who was your carrier? Who was your carrier? Your parents. They've already paid through like noses for the sports line. So they're done. So who was your carrier? Anyone think somebody was your carrier? Or everybody is aligned that we'll have to build, or I'll have to build mine? Lucky. Easy slide, right? We'll come back to the book in a while. Papa, you're distracted there, right? But anybody has any different thought? Because when I put this as a tricky question, say that as a supervisor, I'm responsible for your success. Half of my team says, yes, you are. I'm not responsible for their success. They are responsible for their success. So nobody owes anyone anything in a corporate world or in this world. Even in your own family, whatever you do is what you get. Now, this is kind of funny and serious slide. Would have heard so many topics, theory, strategy, concept, process, English is a very easy language. Yes or no, I don't have a brain. So I've tried keeping it light in a way, but what is the most essential thing to grow? This side is all fearless, growing, happy, important, blah, blah, right? Let me go to the second side also. Science, stress comes in, blah, blah, right? Funny. This is the second page, but the question still remains. Because whatever I said, I'm going to surprise you by saying something very different. What is the most important thing to grow? Any guesses? Anyone who guesses it right, gets a placement immediately. Oh boy, it became interesting. What is the starting salary? Here, placement salary average. I mean, I should have asked this person. Easy. I'm not like, I can manage the promise that I just made. Anybody wants to take a shot? Take a shot, anything. You'll win 15 lakhs of rupees like this. At least. काम तो मैं आपसे करवाई लूंगा तो मेरे ऊपर है. What is the most important thing to grow or survive? Shoot anything which comes to your mind. Yeah. Self-belief. Great answer. Not correct. Anybody else? Or not? I mean, this is the correct answer. Not that I have in mind. Sorry. Pura जोर से sir. बोलो. Discipline. Now I've started anticipating management answers. Yeah, please. Willing to learn and improve. सारे उम्र हम पर के जिए अब तो अब जी लो purpose जी लो la 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 money oh money you believe that why resources in a managerial world or in a MBA world or in a college world, right? I have chosen the word liquidity here. Okay. Ma'am says, you know, your first job will not be the last job, right? How many of you believe in that? Or nice, your students are aligned to you. How many of you think you will get fired one day? Risk takers, I like it. How many of you think you will get into a performance improvement plan or you'll pick up a fight with your bosses or you'll disagree with your team members? Almost everyone. What will make that happen? Why will you pick up that fight? Difference in opinions is the reason. No, you'll not pick up the fight because of that. Because of that, the fight will, I mean, you're dissatisfied. You'll pick up a fight, I'm saying. Which means you'll tell your boss you're stupid. I don't agree with you. Oh, you have seen that ad. Just what do you think? Who just heard from us? Company.com, I think. Something like that. That's a quick ad right there. If you don't have the money to survive, can you pick up that fight? If you don't have the money to survive, can you pick up that fight? What will you do in that? You'll succumb to and continue. But if you have the money then, I don't care. Yeah. Why that happen? Anybody disagrees, first of all, let's pause for 20 seconds more. Anybody disagrees with that? And I'm saying practical stuff, okay? Here's a person who has asked at least 7 people to go. Okay, senior level. Here's a person who has succeeded 7 people who lost their job. And then I took over that seat. Which means I could have been fired as well. So what allowed me to play my natural game, then, you know, if somebody guarantees you 10 matches, you'll perform at least 6 matches fearlessly in cricket parlay, right? There's a very wonderful broadcast with this governor of Sandeep Patil, some Lalwani guy, almost 2 hours, some very burning questions that he has answered that. And I followed all the sports stars more on YouTube than anything else. It'll be simple, they have to decide on a split of second with very minimal information versus a movie artist or anybody else who has plenty of time to do think, read before and act and then take a very shot. Sports will only there and there, you have to take your best call, right? So if, let's say, unfortunately, you go through a bad phase, right? And you get fired or you put on VIP or pick up a fight and you have to leave your job. Worst case scenario. If you don't have the money, what will you do? The first job which comes your way, you'll pick it up. Straight. Agar shaadi ho gayi to koi option hi nahi. But what happens if you have 6 months of liquidity in your back pocket? Or 1 year for that matter? 2 years for that matter. And obviously, once you start from college, you will not have it straight away. Whatever you do, 5 years you will take it. And I'll talk about a little bit on the financial planning purpose, which is what where we'll focus. But if you don't have the money, like it or not, whatever comes your way first, Second thing, if you don't have the money or enough own resources, you will not even pick up a fight. And very soon you become that condition monkey. All of you know this condition monkey story, right? Or that elephant story, or the turtle story, right? Anybody who doesn't know, I can narrate one. Everybody knows, very good. So what is the elephant story? हम लोग के टाइम में सर्कस होता था, तो सर्कस में उतना बड़ा हाथी जो है ना एलिफेंट, वो इतनी छोटी सी चीज से बंधा रहता है। उसको बांधा गया था जब वो इतना सा था, तो इनिशियली इट ट्राइज, but now it has become big and he can, but it doesn't even. Condition monkey is the same thing, and turtle can survive for 300 years or eternity, let's say, but will have to take his neck out for walking or eating, and that's the only time when he is exposed to death. So like it or not, you have to take your neck out. Then what is required for taking your neck out? So now you know why money or resources is important. By the way, on the same topic, when you get a role and you have to deliver certain things, important things, right? What is your team? What is the budget? What is the fund? If you don't know from all where all these things are coming, project is flop anyway. So that's why I use the word liquidity. Works for both. You need to have money, you need to have resources, you need to have money, and you need to have that peace of mind to pick up that particular thing. So far, so good. Practical enough? Okay, this time if you think practical enough, say loud yes. This is loud, I don't know what to do. Anybody can guess what is the next line is going to come up? Okay, anybody disagrees with this? If you're coming from SIOM, right, it was expected. इतने महंगे 15 लाख रुपए है, बिकॉज बाकी जनता 3.5 लाख में चालू कर रही है, आप 15 लाख में चालू करोगे तो 5 गुना, और अगर आप 15 लाख में चालू करोगे तो आप इंडिया की टॉप 5% बाय डिफॉल्ट हो करके देख लेना। folks who are earning more than 30 lakhs may be easily by top 5% of the country, right? So career rank तो easy है, competence is expected नहीं हुआ तो 6 महीने में और प्रोफेशन कंफर्म nahi hoga, correct? So second line becomes very important. And what is the best definition of second line? How do you explain? How do you say that? How am I doing that now? Time. Can we put kind of talk here? Nobody knows. Okay, so you guys seriously don't know or you shy of speaking? Because I'm confused. नीचे I don't know कितने को दिख रहा है. Speak up. Because you are that turtle who is not willing to take their neck out because of either the first row or sir, your students, sir, they are not speaking, sir. What can I do? Speak up. If you know, speak up. How will you differentiate yourself? When I was requesting marketing, sir, said that we don't do a good job. That's what I said, right? Of selling ourselves. We don't make ourselves visible, right? So if you know something, but you are not speaking, then there's a problem, right? But if you're speaking without knowing anything to register your presence, don't put in this. So you need to know what the hell are you talking. So build depth before visibility. If you're on the, and supply chain operation is, it's not a sales and marketing law wherein you say whatever and get away with it. 70% of the sales happened in the last week. We're talking again in the background, it's about, a lot of dumping happens. Nobody could have corrected it. But in supply chain and operation, you need to be very, very agile, alert. You should be able to speak up whatever you have in mind. Very simple example was that in my previous experience, when we used to dump, we have to dump 70% of the material in a returnable glass industry, right? You just can't do it. So we used to figure out a way of communicating enough and more so that this is what can be done max today. Today's quota is gone. Tomorrow day after is left over. Anybody who gets their order by this time only will get service, otherwise go to hell. So by the time, the third day or month and day is coming, we are very, very clear about, right? So we made the communication enough, we made the communication correct, and we made it pretty much visible. It needs to go to everyone. Nobody could blame anyone, right? You need to know your knowledge, you need to have your work understanding, you need to have your knowledge, you need to understand your work, and then execute fearlessly, right? Choose discomfort over applause. Discomfort, how many hours in a day is good enough to work? Okay, how many of you think that once you get into the real job, you'll be able to wear a suit and tie? Or a coat and tie? Or today is the last day? Today is the last day? Good. Then even this will not be there, only this t-shirt and this. Rajiv Bajaj once we when the reporter asked him, why the hell you wear t-shirt? He says, my dad used to, or my other folks sell the car, they can afford suit. If you're selling the bike, I can afford only t-shirt. That's why I'm wearing t-shirt. So yeah, t-shirt and jeans would be your best friend. But coming back to how many hours in a day is good enough? 8. Anyone has heard the name Narayan Murthy? What did he say? 70 hours a week, right? That's what he said, right? How many of you agree with that? Nobody agrees with that? Okay, so what is your acceptable work hours? This 12, 10, 8. Anyone who wants to work 8 hours a week, look for a job somewhere in accounts. वहां पे भी ये नहीं होगा. Be prepared for 12 to 14 hours in a day if you want to achieve something big in professional world for the first 7 to 10 years. Okay, anyone who is giving you is fooling you. Okay, because you need to understand, you need to learn, you have to spend those long hours. I mean, that's what I have seen. You guys might be brilliant enough. I think the work-life balance is the struggle, right? Correct? So what's your age? 24, 25, anyone, 27, 28? Okay, anybody more than 30? No one, right? So your age is around 25. Okay? And what is your work age? What is your work age? How many years of experience you have? So I think before we say how many number of hours is good enough, we need to start experiencing the work to figure out what is the right work hours. And more importantly, how can you integrate them? Because, I, for a period of almost 17 or 18 years now, I have traveled 3 days a week. Okay, across the globe. Is that work? Always. Because of that, I've seen the entire US, Europe, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, India, Mexico, again. Right? So is that all work? Or there's a life in between? I have performed, I have done my quote-unquote singing performance across the time. I have traveled for almost 830,000 kilometers. I have driven from Siliguri to Bhutan, by the way. I have driven in Himalaya, Pagu in Himachal. My driver was unwell. Bhagwan ji ki jai, what else you want? You're driving in snow-clad road, and I had to reduce for almost 1.5 kilometers because the bus came from the other side and you have no way to go. So is it work or is this life? Can you segregate them? Most of the folks used to beat their partners of life at their work, and then they complain about work-life balance. You have created all the trouble for yourself at the workplace, and now you're complaining about work-life balance. What the hell, including me? One now met me in PNG. So what is life? It is very personal. So when you're working for 16 hours in a day, you're not exactly working for 16 hours in a day. I know the folks who will do nothing for the whole day. You start only at 4 in the evening. Your boss लोग चले गए. Coffee free है, snacks free है, ये सब free है. आराम से उसके बाद निकले 9 बजे, इधर गए, बढ़िया दो लगाई, घर पहुंचे 1 बजे, उठे 9 बजे, बॉस रात को 11 बजे यहाँ से. बॉस का मतलब क्या है काम और टेंशन नहीं, कुछ करने को. Agree? So I think the long hours is difficult. But when you're looking for a shortcut of success, right? I think you need to be very sure that this is a success. We declare ourselves winner too early, or we start taking the credit for something which is not even ours. Worse, you get very upset when you don't get enough and more credit, which is very, very right. But over a period of time, you get that due credit which is due for you, not necessarily heaven. Last but not the least, and I'll park it for a while because life is a marathon. You can't run it. I'm standing here only because I have worked for 30 years. Most likely. Otherwise, no way I can get close next to the name of Arvind Rishi. Right? My Accenture's global CEO name is also Arvind Chakraborty, by the way. So, yeah. Now I don't know what exactly is this, but what has worked for me, and this is the only slide which I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to take 5-10 minutes. If you guys are unable to see, you can see these chairs are empty here. And they are still further away from my reach, so we'll be safe. What are the 3 priorities in your life? Okay, and I'm sorry. So let's stay with this. 3 year and 3 life goals. Why? Because again, why? Because to my mind, 5-year planning was very difficult, and technology was changing the jobs and jobs profile and the way of doing things very faster. So no point in planning 5 years, because by the time you come to 5 years, and plus it's way too long. So in 3 years, this is year 0, which is year 1 also, and you're planning for the next 2 years. Year 0 generally is booked by your targets. You have your professional targets, what do you call it? We used to call it KPIs, right? You have your target, sales will have sales target, you will have your supply chain target, you will have your operation target. That is locked and sealed down. Those things will decide your variable pay. So far, so good. Year 2 and year 3, what is changing in business and the organization, understanding that and preparing for that. In one of the projects which we grew from 6 FTE to 650 FTEs. FTE stands for full-time employees. And I knew now that the client work is getting completed, so the project will ramp down. So I stood up in front of the team and said, this project will be almost 150 in next 1 year. So 500 folks will have to be redeployed or repurposed, right? And became an issue because as quote unquote MD, you can't say you are leading panic. I said, no, we're giving them 1 year notice to prepare for something new, right? And that's more than enough. And that was, by the way, the right thing to do. So that becomes your year 1, year 2, and year 3. And the priorities or life goals are 3, which is personal, professional, and what's written there? Which is the most important? Why? Because मैंने पहले बोला money is important, right? But do you control that? What do you control? Personal, professional, financial is the output. So then why financial is most important? Because it will prepare you for year 4 and 5. All 3 are equally important, right? Now, what is personal? Let's say, how do you differentiate the 3? I'll give you my example. Mother in Bhopal, 85 years of age. Wife, obviously, and 2 kids who are, one of them is in Mumbai and one of them is in London, right? This is my immediate family, right? And then you have your brothers, sisters, siblings, all that, right? So what do you plan for? Let's say if I go back for 15 years, what will I plan for? The education of this, mother's health, something maybe we'll have to go out on outing, maybe you'll have to buy a house or something like that. Those are your personal priorities. Professional, you are at an X place. What do you want to do? How do you want to grow? Things like that. Professional is easy. Generally, it's controlled by the organization. Annual plan, daily plan, weekly, other things. And financial, because your income is only this much. Now you have something called plastic money, which is credit card. Money you don't have, but you spend. And then pay 3% per month, which can ruin everything. So it's very, very important for you to know what you can afford and what you can't. And that's the financial priority I mostly read about, right? And it could be different again. Now, dependency between personal, professional, and financial is huge, especially personal financial and professional financial. You want to do an AI course for which you need to spend 65,000 rupees. You need to figure out that financing. Your organization is not supposed to pay that. In my case, they paid that, but maybe you'll not be that lucky, right? Or you want to go out and holiday, which will take away from your reserve. The reserve which you want to keep for 6 months or 1 year, right? Because that's important. So that's how they plan. But what what I did very effectively was that I planned for all things separately. And the one, that's your personal, do whatever you want. Boss told me 10 years to get promoted. The moment you talk about professional priorities, everybody wants to grow in the career. They mean only one thing. They want to talk about only one thing. How will I get promoted? Is that important? The most important, no doubt. But is that an activity or that is an output? promotion is an output or promotion you can control. Output of what you do. But that is only 20%. What is 80%? Are you capable of taking the next level role? Preparing for that next level role? Most importantly, the organization needs to have budget and that position. You do whatever you are capable, but if the position is not there, you will not get it. Until unless we, rarest of the rare 2-3% deviation from coming from the contingency committee. But as an MD CEO kind of profile, I can tell you if the position is not there, budget is not there, half of the discussion in any good organization is over. As good as a poor will not have to. So you need to understand how to go about it. And that is the key, right? Now, the one person who is the most victimized, abused, who is he or she in this middle column? Boss. Why? Because the problem is that you have not spent time with your boss. See, you will get promoted only when you ask your boss for promotion. Correct? Half of the promotions don't happen because you don't have enough guts, courage, and conviction to get promoted. Right? Because then the most important discussions about the budget and the other things are happening, you were sleeping in the class, in the office, in the organization, or cleaning our mobiles at that time. So important things when they were rattling out, we missed. But I think at the same time, boss was talking about the strategy, what is going to happen to function, what is going to happen to the organization. And if you don't understand and align with him, what's going to happen and how can you play that role, you will never get promoted. For doing a great job, great work, you'll get variable pay. If you're not ready for the next level of profile, you'll not get promoted. Simple. Half of us invest in share markets and mutual funds without understanding them. My very sincere advice, I am with the CLP for decent 2 decades, and it has given me good returns. Generally, they give a 14 to 16% average, right, year on year. And you're talking to a person who's both the kids have gone abroad for education. The car which I'm driving, which happens to be a 6 Series, is my 14th car, and I've traveled across the globe. And I have a decent place to hide myself in a city like Dubai or place like Dubai. It all became possible because we planned for a slightly longer duration. That 12 is coming this, graduation is this much, masters is this much, so graduation will happen in India, the masters will be that kind of detail. And that's critical and key. So my very sincere advice, even if that guy is taking 100,000 rupees, stay with the financial planner, you'll be very, very happy and you will be good. Now, last but not the least is, if you have these life goals, you will not run the rat race. उसका promotion हो गया मेरा क्यों नहीं? सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आपकी जनरेशन की यही है, मतलब जूनियर लेवल पे यही होता है कि यार उसका हुआ मेरा क्यों नहीं? And we generally as possibly never entertain that. So what is the best way out? Is run the rat race or don't run the rat race. Evaluate yourself very, very honestly that this is what I wanted to achieve this week on all the three. Okay, as far as possible, publish it with your board of directors because they'll be able to keep you honest, right? And do that. And this you need to do very, very honestly. You can hide from the entire world. You cannot hide from yourself. In the mirror, you will always be honest. Now, sorry. Now, this is my life journey. Someone wanted. Okay. 21 years of age. Right. Hopefully full of life. Not that exhausted as you guys are looking. Just getting. Okay, and then the reality of life. If you're traveling abroad, you'll be traveling in that bigger suitcase than a small trolley. And if you're traveling alone, the country you'll be like, if one trolley is good enough, okay days, right? But when you look at this side, the world sees this is the part of the Facebook, right? Starting career, promotions, MD, partner. But very few people will look into the middle column. So that's the column which is given you those positions. And if you look at it, let's say NIT Bhopal, after completing my commerce graduation, NIT Bhopal was the best thing which could happen to me. I did not learn any language. I just learned one thing, which was called system analysis and design. No charting, simple. In 90s, that was a big thing, right? We always speak very first ever VSAT project, how to get into that because that will be the future. Made my growth. IQA, International Quality Audit in PepsiCo, that was a new program. And we got gold in Rupa. We launched gas I have the privilege of being a team member of was launched CAS in India, Aquapan in India, Pantene, Head and Shoulder, Ariel, Tide, right? Medical by the way was categorized as pesticide at the time of excise certification. And then India TP nomination and global pending. Managing PNL for the first time. And it is scary because as an operation guy, you don't have, you never try to get into those things, right? So, and last, most important is the red signs, personal, right? Now, problem of this slide is that you have no idea which is personal, which is professional, which is financial. Because whatever I said in the previous slide, actually, can anyone say which is personal and which is professional, which is financial here? Anyone? You'll be confused. Kisko kahan pe categorize kare? And that's where I was talking about the integration. You know, until the three things don't come together, you will not be able to. Something which I called, don't build a career, build a life. You know, sing wherever you can, travel wherever you can, try wherever you can. When I resigned from Accenture to join Deloitte, I drove from my house to my house 8,476 kilometers. From Mumbai to Rishikesh and back. Lucknow, Ayodhya, Mathura, Riva, Bhopal, Kana, that national park. 1 month, 1.5 months completely on the road. How you really enjoy your hobby. Al was like the best night. I got with him, and unfortunately, we lost him to an accident in October 22. Okay, so I mean, this how do you integrate? How do you figure out that time? If you're traveling, just plan weekend there, maybe get your family there, maybe whatever works for you, right? If you have a singing show, yeah, cut short, come back, do downtime, maybe go back next day. So many times it happens, right? So that is where I say that, you know, instead of building a career, build a life. How many of you were reading the slide very, very carefully? There was a spelling mistake in one slide. Career. मैंने उनसे बोला था करेक्ट मत करना, बोला क्यों नहीं? By the way, you did the right one. As far as the consulting or the job is concerned, bosses की mistake कभी identify नहीं करेंगे. Very important. Personally बना देंगे. ठीक है, अगर आपने आइडेंटिफाई की होती और बोल दी होगी तो मैं आपको इवाल्यूट करता किसी ने नहीं किया आइडेंटिफाई किसी ने बोला या तो आप लोग सब समझदार but I'm very, very sure, 158% sure that barring 5 people, nobody noticed that. Now be honest, how many of you noticed that after me telling you? Okay, not even 20 out of 160, so that is slightly high, but into Parantu, and that is the must be about your account. Now, tactical, very, very short, very, very quick. You know, what gets calendarized gets done. You'll be under so many things, so many activities. I calendarize my yoga session, my workout session, my singing session, my driving session, my everything is there in my calendar. And at every end of the day, I revise my day before going to the bed and plan my next day. Very, very important. Gives you two things. Sorry, I'm making you yawn. My sincere apologies. I know I'm not a very, very good effective because I'm not behind you, right? But very, very important is that if you revise your day, you're much better prepared for tomorrow and improve your memory. You will remember everything, practically whatever happened for a longer period of time because you have revised it and you have segregated all the noise from the fact. Yeah. Mind, body, and soul. Mind is meditation, exercising. Body is exercising. Soul is singing, travel, photography, whatever, right? Shakespeare is my Insta. I mean, now the issue has all the details, including my Twitter, right? Please follow. Suddenly it will improve. I'll share my YouTube this thing also. And I have decent amount of songs. I have actually done 2 singing videos also. Keep that child alive in you. Very, very important. Must be तो बढ़िया है और हम लोग बैठ के भी कर रहे हैं. I already talked about it. You know, आज के जो Instagram में 22 साल के लोग बैठ के वास्तु समझा रहे हैं, राशिफल बता रहे हैं, कहाँ क्या होने वाला बता रहे हैं और लोग उनको फॉलो भी कर रहे हैं और शायद एग्जीक्यूट भी कर रहे हैं. जिनको कुछ आइडिया नहीं है कि क्या होगा. ठीक है. So noise is a lot. Get out of it. Minimize it as far as possible. Only YouTube gives you some very, very good quality stuff on your work. And I'm a big follower of YouTube. Okay, very good material, very good documentaries. I mean, stuff, including Netflix, right? But yeah, not that shitty serials and episodes which has amazing sex and violence for running for 7 seasons together, giving you nothing out of it, barring human moments of whatever, right? One thing which is very, very important in the last one is difficult conversations. You know, this is a problem which all of us dodge. We don't want to do any difficult conversation with anyone. We don't want to listen. If the other person is a bully, you will not confront people. रहने देने यार, अभी पंगा हो जाएगा. किसी की हिम्मत नहीं है फेसबुक, इंस्टा और ट्विटर पे या लिंक्डइन पे कुछ ऐसा डाल दे जहाँ पे लोग ट्रोलिंग चालू हो जाती है. And that is not like the right thing to do. But when it comes to life, you have no option but to have that honest conversation with that individual. It can go anywhere, right? But it is important to have that. You don't have to be rude or but difficult conversation is essential. Gary Kirsten came for our LTP, and he spoke about the difficult conversation he had with Yuvraj Singh before the tournament, and Yuvraj Singh became the player of the tournament, right? I'm telling you, I follow this sports video like crazy, like nobody's business. Our current coach, I go conference, someday he smiles, right? But you always want to be around the person who's having normal tendency. But difficult conversation is essential, right? Having with your kids, having with your spouses, having with your parents, right? And every time this movie is right? You remember Priyanka Chopra, Rahul Bose, right? Okay. अरे मूवी की बात हो रही है. हेलो, राहुल बोस ही है ना वो. हाँ, मैंने उसको कभी कुछ करने के लिए नहीं रोका. And Farhan Akhtar was like, says, why does she need to ask? It's very difficult in a packed situation, so tricky. For a movie that could be a great scene, but good idea to have that difficult conversation one-on-one, right? That's very, very important. These are the 4 things which I have. 4 things. This one page, these 2 pages are actually summary of my life. I have just summarized this. You can have the, let's say, this deck completely. What I've done is I have written 2 books here, right? And the link also I have here, and I'll send it to Sameer again. You have WhatsApp group for the students. So maybe you can forward that if anyone wants to buy, it would be an honor. But essentially, the 10 lessons which I have more or less spoken about it, no point in revisiting them, is there. The second last slide actually, and last one is very, very simple. So I am ending all my session with this. Okay, used it in that's a beach boat like this, as well as when I'm getting a chance to travel interior of any state and going and talking to those colleges. And I do as far as possible, because if you start as a data entry operator and you reach to this position, it makes a lot of sense to talk about it. You're not English speaking person. You come from a very, very smaller background. So by default, when you reach to a bigger stage, you're nervous, right? And when you talk about it, more and more people hear you. Online, offline discussion starts, LinkedIn group starts, and then I'm more than happy to invest 15, 20, 30 minutes over a week. And I'm a little difficult to get busy, but I definitely reply to every single individual who reaches out to me on LinkedIn, not on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. Character, I have never given the authority or delegated to my team. I set up my own meeting. I accept my own meeting. I will accept 5 meetings. I will not do any single meeting. Instead of that, I was sitting in the cafeteria and having coffee with my team. Right. All about balance. Work-life balance. Spoke about that. Trust. Anything whatever I said just now, could I build some kind of engagement? Trust is way too early for this. Right? Be content, very important. You not have everything, right? But never stop improving yourself, because that's the only thing which you can do to yourself. Then you'll be happy about your task, but not the least. So as you keep growing, you'll become alone. All the leaders, all the bosses, all the leading theater actresses, all the leading sports person, you realize they are alone. That alone time is very, very personal, right? And if you cannot enjoy yourself, right, you'll struggle. Be your best friend. Figure out what gives you the best gift, right? I'm pretty sure all of you will get hired. I'm pretty sure all of you will do great. Take on the liberty of choosing something like this to talk, rather than give you some more AI base, okay, or some more theory and process. And I hope I could add value. I'm pretty sure all of you will pay. Once again, thank you so much for having me here. More than happy to take as many questions. I'm here, I have nothing to do. I was telling Vandani, so that you have paid for me, so you can do whatever you want with me, right? So I'm here to take any questions to the time, the faculty comments. But it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be in the list with the names who have come here and spoken earlier. Means a lot. God bless you all, and please thank your family and your network. What's got you here, and I'm pretty sure you all will do very, very good and very, very great. All the way best. If there are questions, more than happy.
Thank you, sir. Your words have given us a great deal to think about. And with this batch, there are no shortage of questions. We will now open the floor for questions and answers.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
My name is Shekhar Tiwari. So, on Tiwari asking another Tiwari the question, let's do the Shastra.
Bilkul. Shastra, but yes, go ahead.
So, at the starting, I had a different question when you showed the slide, but at the end, coming to the build life slide, I had one more question, so I'll ask you two questions. So, first is, there are a lot of MBAs, maybe thousands, lakhs, which are going to be in the industry. They're going to join the industry. So, being your 30 years of experience, when you interact with those graduates, do you see any mindset or any behavior where you can pick that this is going to become a very good leader or a future leader, and maybe rest of them may not? So what are those traits or behavior? First question. Second question, you have worked across different departments, different domains. For example, you told that you work in P&L. So obviously we are not expert, we are not expert. Your subordinates, when you try to enter into that domain, they will literally tell you why we are listening to that person because they are not an expert in that field. How do you ensure the respect and like do you take the leverage of your authority and take the decisions and anybody under your subordinate will have to listen, but that won't work in corporate. So how do you ensure that? These are the two questions. Thank you.
So the first one is the speak of philosophy. Right? The responsibility of getting registered in my brain is you getting registered in my brain is not my responsibility or accountability for that, but that's yours. You have to speak up and say something which is good, bad, or ugly. Right? Good is easy, ignorable. Bad and ugly generally gets attention, and then most likely, if the person is sincere enough, you'll get a follow-up meeting. It could be over a coffee, it could be over a Teams meeting. Nowadays, a lot of work from home and other things are there. And that's where we start picking up the brain that what you said, why did you say, right? There was a guy by name Sirish in PepsiCo Roha, 5'4", very soft-spoken, but whenever he spoke, I listened to him very, very carefully. Because, he used to say things with utmost ease and very, very to the point, right? So those follow-up meetings are a good opportunity, right? At that point in time, how much you are listening, how much you're explaining is important, but how much you're listening and how much you're putting yourself in the bigger picture becomes the key, right? So when you assert yourself, right, and when you're speaking up, your heart is pounding, you're speaking, at times it becomes as good as a speech performance, right? But you need to win over that and speak. And then let's say if he or she is not inviting, look for a follow-up meeting and you'll be good. Because then you are building that bridge, which is going to last. Very, very important here is by jumping the organization, you will not grow a lot. Because you have to prove yourself again and again and again. Growing with the organization is a much better idea, right? And that ensures multiple learning, including the PNL, right? Once you understand the strategy, once you understand the purpose of the boss or the organization, you can start telling yourself, look, I can contribute. And that's where the 8 hours is for the work, 4 hours is for building yourself. Because if you want to contribute to the boss, right, you need to understand that, yes, what actually he or she is thinking. So I work for exactly like a PMO for Shyam Ram Murthy, Luis Santos, Sanjeev Saxena, Ravi Someshwar, multiple bosses, Nagesh Rajalna, Kaushal Modi, Jal Master, right? Multiple initiatives for them, right? Which gave me that quote-unquote closeness to them, understanding and adding value to it. And that's how it kind of builds. Now, the important thing is, when you are getting into somebody else's domain, the person needs to be pre-aligned, not 100%, needs to be aware. So how do you build that relationship if you know that you're going to get into a meeting wherein some other person is there, especially if you do all the consultants do this very well. You can have pre-aligned at least 2% or 5 in that meeting who are speaking for themselves, right? So let's say if you are getting into a P&L zone or a transformation zone or something else, try fixing a 15-20 minutes or meeting with that person, talking it out. And this is what I think. What do you think? What do you say? And most likely, like you're looking out for, interacting with that. They are also looking out for interacting with someone who is in that meeting and can help them drive their agenda. So sorry, right? So now it's a two-way situation. And just by breaking that ice, you have actually got into their domain without even telling them, look, I'm going to book you, right? And then once the question answer happens, it is a great thing. There's a great guy by name L. Vijay Kumar in PhD. Whenever I ask him the question, he always will sit, open up X. Lotus used to be the thing then. He will explain me how it is done. And once I reached to him and he looked at me and smiled and said, I knew that you'll come. If you had not come to meet me, I would have been wrong. So because you're not feeling comfortable in that meeting. So I decided to hold back. I think challenging in public is never a great idea, right? Especially if the person is senior. Because it's all about communication, it's all about respecting the authority. There's no point in bypassing the authority. It works only in the movies and theaters. It never works in the real life. It works. When you have to confront, please confront. But then be ready for the confrontation. And especially to get an attention from somebody else if you're cooking someone backfires in the long time if you're going to stay in that organization. So that's my makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. So thank you so much for such a beautiful session. You have explained the slides very nicely. Sir, I just wanted to know, as the last slide also included, that we should be content with whatever we have, but we should also keep it, that's what was said. So sir, I'm just curious to know that how to as you're also talking that we have to build a long decade of career, like we have to keep growing. So how do we realize that in order to build that version of ourselves, which is capable enough, we have to keep working for that. But simultaneously, in the beginning, as ma'am and you were also talking, that we also need to enjoy. So, how to figure out that right balance, that this is the right time in which we are supposed to build and work on ourselves. But now we have to enjoy, like on a daily basis, how and what should we focus?
See, the definition of enjoyment is very different, right? Spending time in the family is enjoyment. Switzerland vacation is enjoyment, right? Traveling across the globe is enjoyment. But if you're linking that with the money, that will come at a slightly later part of the career. Right? So your enjoyment in the first phase would be different than whatever it is. But when you are setting up a target for 3 years, it could be a holiday, it could be a simple something. It could be as maybe doing some open course, something like that. So how do you define enjoyment is very personal. And I have a plan for 3 years. On the slide also, there's one person who is running that long lane. If you run a Tata marathon, there are like 50,000 folks who are running with you, but actually you're running alone, right? So how do you enjoy yourself alone is a good idea to happen. And I think 30 years of journey hasn't happened in 30 years. I mean, it has happened in 30 years, but it happened at that moment, that day, that month, and that year. So it's important to be present, plan for future, because you have to keep correcting year 2 and year 3, time and again, multiple things will change. I have never said no to a role. I have never said no to a relocation. I'm about to get relocated again, right? So I think that is all open. Just need to understand merit, bounce it off with family, bounce it off with the board. Look, go to Ranjit Menon, boss, if you say, to pagal hai, so you need to have that kind of comfort over a period of coffee in aromas or somewhere, right? Or a glass of wine. So have those conversations. Keep talking, keep correcting, keep finalizing. When I said content about the goal, because you can't do everything, right? So content is not meant to be. No, don't content. Be loud, be shallow. Shiddat se chao, kainat milati, bilkul sahi, right? Believe in your dream, they come true. It's manifestation in another way. But don't be content, dream big.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Asari Ninave, and my question to you is like, if you could go back to your career in early stage, so what is the one risk you would take earlier and why?
I don't think I will teach anything at all. Came from a very humble educational background, so I had to build my skills. I had to build my qualification. Very lucky, Mexico sent me to IIT Delhi, Accenture to IIM Ahmedabad and MIT. Multiple sessions like this. So, I think the only thing which I was very clear that I used to go at 8 o'clock bus to PNG and come back by 11:20 bus, which went on almost 3-4 years. And I was the first one to move towards Mumbai side of it. And Mumbai was literally living in illegal railway colony for a while. Till then I got my money right in Mexico. So I think I've taken enough and more risk. One of my very, very close friend, Santosh Rajan, when he came to Mumbai and we had to go and pick up something from my house. He was literally at DX and he क्या मतलब नहीं दिया ऐसा कोई रहता है कि वापस जो return करेंगे वगैरह. So decent stories to share over wine. I think I've taken enough and more risk. Went into a transport by all will be Vindrathroids, got married to the same person. So I think I've taken enough and more risk. I'll stay with. I mean, my life comes all across, all over same again. I won't complain. Pretty pleasant, very, very pleasant. No one, despite having the best possible, mummy की पुनियों कमाई मैंने बहुत सूखी खाई. So I think it's just perfect. Okay, I think we are over the time, over the moon. I mean, in terms of the time since. Do well, enjoy yourself. You have my LinkedIn this thing, and I'll send those links as well as I promised to Samir sir, and then you can circulate it to the folks. But it's really a pleasure. Generally at the end of the session, you always say that. It's good to be here. Good to see most of you looking at me, not at your mobile phone, because good thing. I just got you doing that, but now it's more or less over. So it's a privilege. Thank you one more time, and thank you everyone at Symbiosis for picking it up. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for engaging so openly and generously with the batch. The questions were sharp, and your answers were even sharper. We are certain this conversation will stay with many of us long after today. We now request Dr. Vandana Sulaphe to kindly felicitate our respected guest of the day, Mr. Shekhar Tiwari. Behind every achievement stands an invisible arm. Parents who sacrificed sleep, mentors who pushed when it was easier to let go, and friends who held you together on the days you were close to falling apart. To celebrate the dedication and perseverance and the belief, we now move to the declaration of semester toppers. I request Mr. Shekhar Tiwari kindly award the certificates. Starting with MBA Agri Operations Management Batch, topper of semester 1, Ikshuk Das. Also like to request Vandana kindly join us on the stage to give over the certificate. Topper of semester 2, Pratyush Magotra. I request Pratyush kindly come to the stage. Topper of third semester, Tejas KG. And now, moving towards the semester toppers for the MBA Operations Management batch. Any guesses, guys? Absolutely spot on. 3 semesters, 1 name, absolute dominance. Full case, congratulations to every one of our toppers. Excellence is never accidental, and you are a proof of that. And now, the moment this day has been quietly building towards. Every year at SIOM, one student is recognized not just for what they have scored, but for who they are. The Best Student Award is determined through a rigorous 3-phase evaluation. Academic performance, that is CGPA, co-curricular and extracurricular activities, that is ECGPA, and an assessment from faculty and institutions. This is not just an award, it is a recognition of complete professional. The person who showed up fully in every dimension. We request our guest, Mr. Shekhar Tiwari, to kindly announce the Best Student of the Year 2026 for MBA Agri Operations Management batch. You make it dramatic or simple? Yes. Okay, now you guys are dragging someone. Pratyush Malhotra. Congratulations, Pratyush. Well and truly deserved. We request Mr. Shekhar Tiwari kindly announce the Best Student of the Year 2026 for MBA Operations Management batch. Guesses again. Nashik. Congratulations, Nashik. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. To both our students, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt that you pushed through, every choice to do a little more when you could have done just enough, it all led to this. Congratulations. Every person in this room today is a part of a story that is bigger than any one of us. You are not just a product of your own hard work, though that was immense. You are the result of every hand that held you up, every voice that believed in you when you weren't sure you believed in yourself. You are a tapestry woven from the kindness, guidance, and faith of people who chose to invest in your journey. To acknowledge everyone who made this occasion possible and to close today's ceremony with the grace it deserves, we now invite Dr. Ratna Paluri, Deputy Director of SIOM, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Samar and Shreyas. A very emotional moment, just like all of your red eyes choked throat, but yes, moments that we do cherish. It was always a privilege to stand here and propose vote of thanks on this moment during the last lecture. It's never easy, but yes, we have to do. This event is always a meaningful moment in the academic journey for every student on SIOM campus. First and foremost, I would like to express our gratitude to our guest today, Mr. Shekhar Tiwari. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion, spending time with us, and sharing the words of wisdom, which I'm very sure my students will carry in the years to come. I'm sure they will reflect upon these things as they grow in their life. Thank you very much for this. You have shared mantras of success in life, which would mean a lot to students take in part and find a purpose in their life. I would also like to thank our beloved Victor ma'am for the support that she's always extended for everything that we do on the campus, especially for today's event as well. She's always been creating platforms such as last lecture, which enrich the learning journey of our students. Sincere appreciation for all my faculty colleagues who have guided, mentored, and supported the students through their thick and thin. Your commitment in shaping capable and responsible professionals
is truly, truly commendable. Thank you all once again. I would also like to acknowledge our administrative staff support who has been working behind the scenes, and through that thorough planning, they have executed everything very, very smoothly. Last but not the least, our beloved students. Please still remember your first few days on the campus when you stepped into the portal of SIOM, the inquisitiveness that you brought to the table, the anxiousness that you brought along with you, and the 2 years that you have spent, all the ups and downs that you have gone through. I hope you will have a memorable experience to cherish all these memories all through your life. I know this is an important milestone for you. And as you move forward, we hope the insights shared with you all today will stay with you and guide you in making meaningful contributions in your personal and professional journeys. Once again, I extend my sincere thanks to our guest, Shekhar Tiwari, and all my beloved students for being a part of this memorable occasion. And to everyone present here, thank you, Ayush, Shreyas, and Samar for being such a place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, all of you, for being part of the last lecture of 2026. To our seniors, you came here 2 years ago as engineers looking to become more. You leave today as something this world needs urgently. Leaders who think, professionals who care, and human beings who know that the best is still ahead. The road will be long. It will ask things of you that you cannot fully prepare for. But if these 2 years taught you anything, let it be this. The road, you are more capable than you think. You are more ready than you feel. And wherever you go, SIOM goes with you. From your host, Ayush, Shreyas, and Samar, we wish you success in every boardroom you walk into, resilience in every challenge you face, and fulfillment in every life you touch. Go well, go far, go make us proud. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Students are requested to stay back while our discussion. Thank you.